Welcome to Millennial Milkshake, the podcast where three kids from the cul-de-sac revisit, re-experience, and review things from our childhood. My name is Colin O'Connell, and I was born in 1994.
My name is Josh Sicali. I was born in 1995.
My name is Michelle Potter, and I was born in 1997.
Did you forget what year you were born there for a second, or you cut out on my end? So this is our first podcast. This is our first episode. And just kind of to go over generally what this podcast will be about, we are three millennials. Michelle, I guess you're technically one. I mean, I think she's a fake millennial, but it's fine. And so we're just going to, talk about things that we experienced as children, and we're going to re-experience them as adults. And, well, I guess we've already re-experienced some of these because we're going to talk about it, but that's kind of just the general vibe of the podcast. It's the premise. Do you guys have anything to add about what this podcast is about?
No, I think you pretty much covered all the bases. We're going to take trips back to memory lane.
First try. Nailed it. First off, though, I kind of want to go over the name Millennial Milkshake, and I want to kind of dive into... So, in my mind, a milkshake has three parts, typically. It has the milkshake, it has the whipped cream, and it has the cherry. Guys, what part of the milkshake are we each?
Oh, that's easy. I'm definitely the whipped cream.
Gotcha.
I'm the little sweet fluff of the podcast, and Michelle is going to be the beautiful cherry. And Colin is the strong milk base.
Yeah, Colin, you're
milk-based.
You're the the milk base,
Oh, stop calling me milk-based.
the ingredient that holds the group together,
Yeah, Colin, you're the foundation.
I'm going to change my Twitter name to Milk-Based Millennial. I think that's... So I'm the milk-based millennial of the podcast, guys.
And I'll be the cream. I'll be the cream flare.
The cream flare?
And Michelle is beautiful cherry.
That's very, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful cherry. What, has anyone ever put a regular cherry on a milkshake?
I hate cherries.
I don't like cherries either, so...
So, Michelle, you're the cherry, and Josh hates cherries, so what does that mean?
I don't like them either, so...
I only like the look of them, so...
Yeah. They're, not that great once you get to know them.
I like real cherries, but yeah, I just don't like... I don't like those cherries. I actually, when I take them off, I have to actually scoop the red cream that got infected and throw it out, because even that's gross.
Right.
No little residue. I like a Rainer cherry. You ever see a Rainer cherry?
I don't even know what that is.
Is it the yellow and red ones?
Yes.
Ooh.
Those are so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I wish. When are cherries in season again? Because it's time.
I assume spring, but I don't know.
We won't date the podcast, but that could be coming up soon.
I can go for a milkshake right now. What's everybody's favorite milkshake?
Do you mean like a general flavor or like a specific milkshake you've had from somewhere?
Oh, no, just a flavor. If you want to tell me your favorite place to get a milkshake, I'm always down to try a new one.
Well, the best milkshake I've ever had, it's a place in Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. They have a bunch of different flavors. I can't remember the place, but they have one flavor of ice cream that's called crack. And it is called crack, I think, because it's so addictive, and it is really good, and the milkshakes are incredible. So a crack milkshake in Rehoboth Beach is my favorite milkshake. If we're talking about just general flavors, I like a chocolate malt, I think. That's my go-to.
I think I'm just like I like a nice just vanilla milkshake, or maybe cookies and cream.
Yeah, I was going to go cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream is also good.
That's the best ice cream, so it's one of those two.
Anything that's milk-based for me, obviously. And it doesn't even have to be cow's milk. It can be any milk. Give me all of your milks. I want your milk. That's my catchphrase of the podcast is I want your milk.
Right now, I'm craving a strawberry. I'm like a strawberry milkshake, or maybe a mint.
Strawberry and mint are the most aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, they're the prettiest. No doubt.
They're very pretty. Yeah, very pretty colors. That rich green, that vibrant green, and like the almost like a neon pink.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So gorgeous. You know what else is gorgeous?
The cherry
animation stylings of the Cartoon Network smash hit Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
You gotta love those tongues.
Oh, the tongues.
The tongues are so big.
And the colors. I mean.
Yeah, they're all different colors.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to talk about first from Ed, Edd, and Eddy?
Well, let's hold on with the tongues for a second, because I actually have something to say about the tongues. So they always want jawbreakers, right? They have to, the size of their tongues in their mouths. Do you think they like wrap them around the jawbreakers in their mouth? Because the jawbreakers are massive in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I don't even know if they have to, because as you probably seen in one of the episodes, the jawbreaker just has its own section. That creates its own section from in the mouth, where everything's normal when you look at them, and then all of a sudden you see a big planet,
huge,
to the
on one
left.
side.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just completely like
planet.
it's double, triple the size of their head. So I mean, I think the tongue can just stay put, and the jawbreaker just creates its room for himself.
So is it like a lizard or like a snake situation where they unhinge their jaws to get these massive candies in their mouth, and then they just sort of put them off to the side?
I don't know, but I always wanted a jawbreaker whenever I see them eating it, and I always wanted one as big as that.
They fucking suck.
They do.
Jawbreakers
They
are like
do.
the worst candy.
I know they're awful.
They're not
but
good.
I'm more of a gummy candy guy myself,
Yeah.
but when I see them eating it, sucking on it, it makes me hungry for one.
It does.
And I know I'm going to be disappointed when I have one.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be up there with, like, you know how some certain foods look really good in TV shows or cartoons, like cartoons in particular? That's got to be up there with, like, the more appetizing foods in, like, a cartoon.
No, we got a lot to talk about. With Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
We do. Let's get started with our personal histories with Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Michelle, Josh, did you guys grow up watching this? Who suggested it? Was it Josh? I think it was Josh
It might have been me. I mean, I remember watching it a lot, but I'll have to be honest, I can't pinpoint a lot of episodes specifically. I just remember watching them. I just remember characters, really. I don't remember plot points. But as I was watching it, it was like all coming back, like how they were. I mean, even like Kevin, how he says dork at the end of like every sentence when he's like, I was like, wow, like it all clicked then. I mean, I remember how much I hated Jimmy, Jimmy and Sarah.
Jimmy.
I mean, oh man, I couldn't stand them. Like, I guess we'll get into that. I don't know if we're gonna get into that now. About
I remember one specific episode very vividly. It's what's the girl's name? Naz, the one that they all have the crush on.
Is that the blonde?
The blonde haired. Yeah, I remember an episode where she babysits Eddy, and like she like shows up to his house and he doesn't understand why, and then I think he calls Double D, and Double D's like, oh, it's a date, and then really his mom has hired Naz to babysit him, even though they're the same age.
I do not remember
that.
That's
like the only episode I really vividly kind of remember.
I don't remember that either.
She makes some mac and cheese.
I'm the same with Josh, though. Like, I watch Ed, Edd, and Eddy all the time, but I can't pinpoint episodes either. I just remember the characters. Yeah, but it was on our television quite often.
They do have a very unique design and look to them. Like, the animation style is... I don't think I can think of anything else that looks like Ed, Edd, and Eddy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has such a specific style. It's like, it's just weird, like how everyone looks so different from one another. It looks like a different species, each character you look at. I mean, like, the different eye sizes on the same person is just like Johnny 2x4. I mean, you got a penny and then like a $50 eye. They're just like completely different sizes.
Yeah, that little eye. The Canker Sisters look nothing alike for being sisters.
So we're gonna get into that. I actually have a lot to say about the Canker Sisters.
Yeah, because the first episode we watched did have the second half of that's what cartoons used to do, right? They would do like 2 episodes to make it one.
Yeah.
Did have the Canker Sisters in it. But do we have any did anyone look anything up about this in general? Any general histories about how it got started or?
Yeah, I got some history, guys.
Cool. What a transition.
So, Okay, Ed and Eddy aired in 1999, January 4th. It's actually Cartoon Network's longest running series. 99
Is
to...
it really?
Yeah. It's Cartoon Network's longest running original series and one of the most successful. So it aired in 1999 and then it concluded originally in 2004, but I think they went back and made a movie. Do you guys remember this movie or no?
No.
It was like a 90-minute movie and it was like...
I don't remember it at all.
Technically season 6. I think it was 2009, but it was just one episode of season 6 and it was 90 minutes long.
I can't believe it's its longest running series.
I know.
I would have thought like Adventure Time would have taken that over, because I felt like that was on for years.
Or like I feel like Dexter or Courage, like one of them maybe.
Dexter was on for a while too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have thought like a newer show, like an Adventure Time or like a regular show. Because I feel like those shows kind of came out when I was kind of coming out of high school or in high school. And then my brother watched them. And he watched them, like we would watch those together. And I just was like, I just thought years and years that those were, on. But that's surprising to hear.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
How many plot lines can you get out of trying to scam money off of your neighbors to buy candy? Like,
I mean, right? Like
the show is.
It went on for a long time for what it is. Yeah, it's a Canadian-American show, so it was created by Canadian Danny Antonisi. He actually created the show on a dare, so his friends dared him to create some sort of show, and he pitched it, and they liked it, and that's how we got Ed and Eddy.
On Double Dare. He actually went on Nickelodeon's Double Dare.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he pitched it.
And he pitched Double D.
That's not how the show works.
Yep.
Double D, Double Dare.
And it was nominated for 2 Kids' Choice Awards. It did not win, unfortunately, but...
Do we know what it went up against?
Ooh, I'm not sure, but I think it was like favorite...
I'll look it up.
...cartoon show.
You guys can keep talking, I'll look it up.
So, Michelle, you got any fun facts about Ed, Edd and Eddy?
It was broadcast in 120 countries.
Wow.
Which is a lot, I know.
Is that normal? Like...
I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess Cartoon Network reaches like quite a broad audience, but 120, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what like SpongeBob would have broadcast at. I wonder if it's like around the same, or I mean, I can't even.
Right, I feel like SpongeBob reached much more people than Ed, Edd and Eddy did, but like maybe not. Maybe they broadcast the same because yeah, I mean 120. That's way higher than I would have ever guessed.
I'd want to read that list.
Yeah.
In 2005, Ed and Eddy lost to SpongeBob SquarePants for favorite cartoon. It was up against SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, and The Simpsons.
Oh. Okay.
Was that like the first time SpongeBob won?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess we'll find that out on another episode.
Yeah, maybe if we review SpongeBob. Oh, well, of fucking course Ed and Eddy wasn't going to win the Kids' Choice Awards on Nickelodeon. They're going to give it to SpongeBob in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Or Fairly Odd Parents. They're not going to promote another fucking company's work.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not fair. Like, why even... Come on.
Ben Stiller hosted that year.
Oh.
I don't remember that year at all.
Me neither.
I feel like Rosie O'Donnell hosted like the first 17, and then Jack Black hosted like 3 of them, and then I stopped watching.
I thought it was like only Jack Black, to be honest.
Yeah, I also like only remember
Really?
Jack Black ever hosting Kids' Choice Awards.
I only remembered Rosie hosting for like the longest time, and then I feel like they brought on Jack Black, and I was like, ooh, Jack Black.
Yeah, I mean, I really just remember the Back in Black, like AC/DC promo for it,
Mm-hmm.
and Jack Black just like singing it.
I remember they did a promo. It must have been like the second time he hosted, where it was like him a cappella, like doing instruments, and it was just like Jack Black in like a white room, like doing his thing. But he was doing his like, like, you know how Jack Black does his thing. Just imagine Jack Black saying Nickelodeon 5,000 times. That was the ad. So we got anything left history-wise about Ed, Edd and Eddy, or are we going to move on to our favorite new segment?
Yeah, we can move on. I think just that it ran for 11 years. That was surprising to me. Let's dive into something else, though, guys. What do we have?
So we have, we've tested this segment, beforehand. This isn't the first time we're recording an episode. It's the first time we're properly recording one. But we've tested this segment, and guys, it was a smash hit. both times that we tested it, right?
This is what Colin looks forward to every episode.
This is my milk-based baby.
Ugh.
And I've squeezed it out of the udders of my mind.
Ugh.
And it is my favorite, the world's favorite segment. It's called Apple Facts. And it is called Apple Facts. Why, Michelle? Pop quiz, why?
It's called Apple Facts because it's based off of Snapple Facts.
And what's the Apple part have to do with it, Josh?
Well, I believe you use a Mac, right?
Yep, I own a MacBook.
So these facts come from his very own Mac computer. So therefore, Apple Facts was born.
Perfect name. So they're just fun facts. They're all very true. Every single one is true. Don't listen to anything that Michelle and Josh have to say otherwise about these facts. I would never lie.
They're something else.
Josh, are you gonna read? Are you gonna take off the Apple Facts for us today?
I'm gonna get us going on the Apple Facts tonight.
All right, Ed, and Eddy Apple Facts. Here we go.
So our first Apple fact. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
So as Michelle stated, Ed, and Eddy debuted on Cartoon Network on January 4th, 1999. On the exact same day, former WWE superstar Jesse "The Body" Ventura was sworn in as governor of Minnesota. I was going to make a joke about his roid-fueled body failing him in his old age before I realized that's a 69-year-old man who could kick my ass. I'm sorry, Jesse. You were fantastic in Predator.
So please, Jesse, don't come after me. You're great. You're so good in Predator. He ain't got time to bleed. It's one of my favorite action lines ever. When he gets shot, you ever see Predator? He gets shot and Shane Black turns to him and he's like, "You're bleeding, man." And Jesse the Body Ventura goes, "I ain't got time to bleed." And it's so badass. So that's our first Apple fact. Very true.
Okay, so wow. I mean, this is definitely okay.
I should say something first. Originally Michelle was gonna read these, and this was a prank on Michelle, but now it's a prank on Josh.
Oh my god. So we got our number 2, and this is just the most. All right, so hold on to your boots, guys. This is going to be a bumpy ride. So, number 2. Every episode of Ed, and Eddy endures enigmatically elevating engagement, especially if energetic, infantile adolescents unearth ear-splitting eagerness. Eventually, even esoteric engagements are extinguished and evolutions of the Earth. In the 11th hour aired Ed, and Eddy's entertaining end. I'll be honest, I don't even know what I just read. Everything left as I read each word.
Basically what it means is every episode of Ed, and Eddy is fun, and the last episode aired in November.
What a way to put it, Colin. What a glorious way to...
You sound great, Josh.
I forgot about that one.
So, we have number 3. A fan-made sequel to the original series has been in the works since 2019, which would focus on the Eds in their final year of high school. Time for a pitch. Eddy gets a vasectomy, so his selfish devil spawn can never see the light of day. Better yet, someone can run over his testicles with a bike. Jawbreaker? More like ball breaker, am I right?
Am I right?
God.
Let's go into my type 5.
Are we ready for number 4? Does Colin have any commentary on number 3?
Just a good joke.
So number 4. If you look in the background of every episode of Ed, and Eddy, you'll see a hidden character. While the character was never given an official name, fans have dubbed him Peterphile due to his wispy mustache, wireframe glasses, thinning comb-over, and the fact that he's always hanging around a cul-de-sac of unsupervised children. Actually, it's probably just that last part. And yes, to those who are a fan of British comedy, I did steal that joke from the IT crowd.
A little bit of plagiarism, all good.
And number 5, which so far, the last Apple fact is usually my favorite, so, but I don't know what this one says until I read it. The theme song to Ed, and Eddy features incredible whistling talent. To perfectly replicate that signature whistle is our very own Michelle. Michelle, take it away.
Oh my god. Right, so. Thank you.
That's it.
I was expecting more.
I put so much work into these facts, and that's all I get.
I mean...
All right. That's enough. That's...
Michelle, I think you need to wet your whistle.
Yeah, I think so, too. Been out of practice.
All right. So how are we feeling after that?
Well, I appreciate the Apple facts, Colin. They're always just truth I've never heard.
Mm-hmm. That's the perfect way to describe them. Truth you'd never heard. Yeah, and they are the truth.
That number 2 did make me laugh. Caught me way off guard.
Well, E's such a weird letter to try to use alliteration. Is it alliteration when it's vowels? I think it's something else. But it's a weird letter to choose for alliteration. So kind of,
Well, I'll be honest. I was looking over them. I was just kind of like look over like the first like 2 lines, and I was like, he's a big fan of E words, and I didn't realize it just kept going. It was a never-ending cycle of E. So
pretty much
very fitting for Ed, and Eddy. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about these episodes, because I got a couple comments.
So let's go into what episodes we actually watched. We watched the first episode, which I think that's going to be a running theme. We're going to pick the first episode. But that doesn't always seem fair to me, because sometimes the first episode is really rough. And it takes them, sometimes it takes shows some time to get their footing. So we also randomly picked season 3, episode 3. It Came from Outer Ed, and Squares of an Ed. I don't know, what that means. And season 4, episode 3, One Size Fits Ed, and Pain in the Ed. They're really struggling to get to fit Ed into these names for episodes. Pain in the Ed is the only one that makes sense, because it's Pain in the Ed. If you had a Cockney accent, you could say it that way. But what is Squares and an Ed? What does that mean? What does Came from Outer Ed? What what does that mean?
At that point, you're just taking a word from the phrase and just putting Ed in it.
Yeah.
It's not even a clever substitution.
Yeah. You could just be like, let's get Ed. And it's well, what does that mean? I like my Ed over easy. Well, that kind of works, actually. I like my Ed over Eddy.
Oh, that was good.
So those are the episodes we watched.
Did you guys have a favorite one out of the 6?
I'll tell you what, I like Squares and an Ed the most, I think. Because it has an incredible visual gag. If you guys remember, it's the episode where Ed he's grounded. So he's he's grounded, and Eddy and Double D sneak in, and they're gonna break him out, and they're like, why haven't you left your room yet? And it pans over to the door where his room is, and he lives in the basement, and he's like, my parents took away the stairs, and the stairs are just gone. I laughed so hard at that. It's a great sight gag.
Yeah, that was good.
So I think that was my favorite one. What do you guys think?
I think the couple, season 3, episode 3, the Outer Ed and the 3 Squares, I think that was the best duet. But I feel like I have the most to say about the first 2.
Okay.
So we can jump into that if you guys want.
Well, Michelle, which one did you like most?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think I also had the most to say about the first episode. Squares in an Ed was probably, and It Came from Outer Ed. Yeah, that was probably the best couple episode.
Season 3, it feels like they got their formula down. They found their footing. Season 4 felt a little it's a little tired at that point almost. But yeah. So we can dive into the first episode if we want. Josh, what do you got to say?
So, my main thing is the Canker Sisters, which I know that's the second part of the first episode. But so, how well do you guys remember the Canker Sisters?
I remember them pretty well. I remember thinking that the blue-haired one, I don't remember their names, that the blue-haired one was the most normal one out of them, almost. But I just remember them tormenting the Eds for years and years on my television screen.
So I'm assuming. So Colin, I remember we were talking a little bit about it, like just kind of like brushing up on it, and you were making a comment about how they have the same last name but they look nothing alike. So I wasn't sure if you were informed that. I mean, in the episode, this is what caught my attention when they steal the Eds and give them their robes. And it's the robes of their fathers.
Right. They have different dads.
Which, yes, Rod, Butch, and Bubba, which are wonderful names. But I was like, oh, okay, they're the sisters. Are they real sisters? Are they half sisters? Does this mean their mom was just going around
with multiple men,
with a bunch of men,
which is fine.
We don't
slut shame on this podcast.
No, but I was like, wow, I'd never really realized that. So I was looking up the mom a little bit. What's her name? Is it BB?
Is it? I'm not sure.
Well, I was so intrigued. So
Phoebe, like Phoebe from Friends, is their mom?
No, BB, like a BB gun.
Gotcha.
Now I was reading more about it, and I don't remember if it actually shows this in episodes. I didn't really look into the episodes as much, but apparently she's always trying to get with like the Ed's dads as well. So, like, yeah, she's always gunning for a new man. So
wow,
I think the sisters just took the mom's last name. They just went with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is the same mom. They're not like adopted.
Nope,
right?
Same mom. So they're all half sisters.
It still doesn't explain why they look nothing alike, because even half siblings sometimes look a little bit alike.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but so I was reading about the mom, and I got a lot of information about her. She's 32. She has multiple jobs that change often. And her jobs vary. I'm reading this from Google as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
She often gets herself fired. That's why her jobs change so much. She either isn't educated enough or she gets bored. And let's see. Oh, and this is the comment that really got me. Though she never stays jobless for long and does what she can in order to provide for her unplanned daughters. So it says the daughters were unplanned. So I thought that was a nice little fun fact about the Canker Sisters family.
Do you think she ever worked at a Regal Cinemas?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
100%.
Just for some context.
She was the ticket taker.
Michelle, Josh, and I all worked at a Regal Cinemas together. That's where we met.
Wonderful job.
So it really kind of sounds like someone who would possibly at some point find their way, especially if they're losing jobs all the time, because as we know, that's the easiest job in the world to fucking get.
Yeah, they'll hire anyone.
I mean, embarrassingly so.
I'm thinking like a 7-Eleven maybe.
You
know?
Single mother, you want something with benefits. So like 7-Eleven, you can bring home hot food, restaurants and stuff like that, get tips and everything. Regal, there aren't many benefits to Regal, I guess. The best benefit of working at Regal, which wasn't even a real benefit, was if we would close, sometimes you just got to throw on a couple more pretzel bites or a couple extra corn dog nuggets because you didn't eat that night. And that was your dinner for tonight. You're eating corn dog nuggets at 11:30 at night. And you know what? It's not good for you and it's not good. But in that moment, it's the only thing you have in life. I have a question for Michelle.
Yeah.
Who was the first one to call you Shelly?
Okay, so people sort of called me that in middle school or high school. I actually hate that nickname.
Do you think that happened with Double D? People thought that he liked that name, but he really doesn't. Because, okay, I'll bring this up. We'll kind of circle back around to the topic, because he's called Double D, right? So he's the Eddy in Ed and Eddy, correct? Or no, Eddy. I'm sorry. Eddy is the Eddy. Ed is the 2D in the title.
There you go.
Yeah.
But in Squares and in Ed, we clearly see Double D's room, and his name is spelled EDWARD. What? Why is this? Like his name's Double D, but he only has one D. Like, I guess unless you're counting the D and the first D and the second D, but every Ed has that name. Every Edward has the two Ds. So why is he called Double D?
I mean, okay. Ed, like Ed with one D, is so clearly an Ed with one, like...
You don't think it's short for Edward?
Ooh. I mean, he could... Okay. Double D could definitely go by Edward. It would suit him. It would suit him well, you think?
Yeah. But Ed, Edward, and Eddy doesn't really flow.
Are all their names actually Edward?
It has to be, right? Ed isn't like a real name. It's a nickname, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I feel like Eddy's parents would have named him just Eddy.
Yeah, I have an uncle whose name is just Ed.
That's great.
That's crazy to me. Huh. Unless it's like a Game of Thrones situation where it's like Eddard, but I don't think that's a real name.
Right.
I mean, it's the same thing if like someone's name is just Harry and not Harold.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What's Harry Potter's name?
Harry.
Are you sure? It's not Harold Potter?
Oh, yeah. No.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't think so.
I don't think so
Let me
either.
look up his wiki page.
I don't think anybody's ever addressed him as Harold.
Right, but that's because his nickname is Harry.
Yeah, but like even when he's
God.
like...
No, his name is just Harry.
Yeah.
Well, his teachers don't call him Harry. His teachers call him Potter, except for Dumbledore.
Right.
Yeah.
Do the Eds, do any of these kids in this cul-de-sac go to school? They're always out. Is it like a Phineas and Ferb perpetual summer situation?
I think every episode just lands on a weekend.
Oh. And they have to be in like California because it's always nice weather out.
Yeah.
It's never like snowy.
Or maybe it just always takes place in the summer. You're right.
Maybe it's a mixture of both. I mean, I don't know how many times you can try to grift your way through life to get some candy without like happens so often. That's like...
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so let's try and like circle back. Let's hear some of your thoughts on like the first episode. I feel like we went off.
Cool. So for me, the first episode of a show is always it's the setup episode, right? So you have to kind of establish these characters and where they are, and I think it does a pretty good job with that. With Double D, he has like the label maker, and like he puts it all in his room, so he's kind of like anal retentive. And then Eddy kind of just comes in and he's a dick for no reason. And that's pretty much his character. So that makes sense. I have some notes here, but like it just says Ed's sister is being unreasonable. And I feel like that's Sarah. And I feel like that's just every episode. Sarah's just unreasonable.
Yeah.
And she is. And when I was watching it, I was like, man, no wonder like my brothers kind of hated me growing up, because we watched this show all the time, and it's just like
psychological.
Sarah was the worst. Yeah.
Michelle, were you like Sarah growing up to your brothers?
No.
Are you sure?
I wasn't. Oh, I mean, they might say differently, but I don't think that I was. But they thought I was because we watched that show.
You don't come off as a Sarah as an adult.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. No, I don't think I was a Sarah. Maybe once or twice.
Can we talk about how they use the term serial toucher in this episode?
I have a note about that.
It's so creepy.
I wrote ... serial toucher on the loose. What?
I have yikes written down. And they use Ed as the bait, right? Don't they use Ed as the bait for the toucher?
Yes. They do.
Fucking Canadians.
I think my favorite character in that episode is Johnny 2x4.
I have complex feelings about Johnny.
You know what? When I was recalling this show before I actually watched it, I thought I hated Johnny, but I kind of like him. I don't like Jimmy, but I like Johnny, I think.
I feel like they kind of made Johnny in like, I don't have any actual evidence for this, but just going back through memory, I feel like they kind of made Johnny, like, he did like a heel turn. Like, he almost becomes like a villain at some point.
Does he?
I think so.
Because I feel like that's how I remember him.
Yeah, I remember him being very antagonistic a lot and kind of like, not necessarily towards, like, sometimes for the Eds, sometimes against the Eds. Well, most of, like, the whole premise of the show is kind of like the whole neighborhood against the Eds. But I feel like Johnny sometimes was like his own thing and like would kind of go against everyone at times. I can't like recall a specific episode where he does it, but that's how I remembered his episode, like him. He has good reason to be kind of antagonistic against the Eds because he does get like tortured in this episode. It's like Making a Murderer where they're like, tell the truth. And it's like, come on, do the right thing here, son.
Don't they like drip water on him?
They do Chinese
That's
water
like
torture.
An actual form of torture.
Yeah, they do it in like Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, like I have 9:30 marked, and I just remember Eddy dropping water, and do you guys remember his face? The animation, it's so creepy. If like I actually have it back up right here just so I could see the face again, but like yeah, they got
like
this guy
every drop.
Yeah, it's like a different like it's just but they got this guy hooked up to like all these wires to a toaster. I thought they were gonna like electrocute him at first.
Yeah. Like I was stressed out watching that scene. And it's a cartoon, but I was stressed out. It was it was intense.
There's a Martin McDonagh play called The Lieutenant of Inishmore, and the one character introduction is he's torturing someone hanging upside down. And I was shocked by how just vibe-wise it felt very similar to fucking Ed, and Eddy. Like, they actually do get the jawbreaker in this episode too, in this first one.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
So when I watched it, that's when I was like, oh, I forgot about the jawbreaker. And I was like, is this a recurring thing, or is this only in this episode? Because I remember this image. But I was like, okay, wait, no, this is a regular thing.
Yeah, but I don't remember them ever getting them. But they get them in this episode. They lose them, but...
Oh, no, I remember them sucking on them. I remember the size of the cheek.
Image of... Yeah.
I remember the other kids always sucking on them while they don't. Maybe like in the promotional images, they had the jawbreakers, but I always remember them. The episode of Ed and Eddy, I mean, it's pretty formulaic, right? Eddy has an idea to scam the other kids in the neighborhood. That happens in this episode, and he's going to take their money. He's going to perform some sort of service or fake service for them to get their money, which is normally quarters, and they're going to go buy jawbreakers, right? And it normally never works for them, but it works for them in this episode, which is crazy. Who was the toucher? I forget. Double D figured it out, right? Or that they were just lost or something, but he didn't say anything.
They were just lost.
And Double D knew that because he finds his label maker, right?
No. I don't know when he knows, because when Sarah says that her doll was just like under the bed, Double D like comes out and says, it turns out, I forget where his magnifying glass was.
Oh, his magnifying glass. Because there's the timeline here is important, because if he knew that the magnifying glass was just lost and he let Johnny get tortured, what a piece of shit.
I don't think he did. I think he just knew before that. Like, he probably just found it afterwards.
Oh. I mean, it's still shitty to torture someone, but...
Well, yeah. I mean, Double D's not evil. He's pretty, like he's all there compared to the other two, so...
He's pragmatic, I would say. And I feel like he's always the most liked member within the cul-de-sac. Like, everyone hates Eddy, and people are kind of like, well, Ed's dumb, so let's make fun of Ed. But, like, Double D, like, if something's going up, people will, like, go up to Double D and be like, can you stop this? And it's like, you don't understand the power dynamic of this friendship, clearly. Because he has, like, very little say. Did anyone think that Ed... This is so dumb. Did anyone ever think growing up that Double D was a girl? Because the show's called Ed, and Eddy. And I was like, why is this girl named Ed? And it's like, listen, you can name your daughters Ed all you want. Go for it. I just thought growing up as a kid in my, with my background as a white suburban kid, like, it's kind of weird that this girl is named Ed. And then I eventually realized it was a guy with a hat on. I thought the hat was his hair.
I mean, I did always think the hat was the hair, but I still thought it was. I don't think I thought it was a girl. Maybe girlish features, but.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did too. Maybe for a minute, but yeah.
Like, obviously, eventually I figured out he's a guy,
right.
But I think, like, initially I thought he was a girl. Which would have made the second half of this episode pretty progressive, all things considered, if he was a girl. But instead, it's just a weird, creepy kidnapping, attempted sexual assaulting for half an episode.
It is, like, intense. I also, like, was really excited when I watched this episode, and there was 2 episodes in one episode. I had forgotten that they did that. I mean, with most cartoons when we were kids. And I was really excited that we got 2 in 1.
I forget, is that normal? Like, was that normal for... I think that was like
yeah,
Courage did that, and Dexter, and...
I think SpongeBob did it too.
Oh, yeah. SpongeBob was the one that I remember doing it. Like,
now I think, I feel like cartoons don't really do that much anymore. They kind of just they kind of like take up the full 24 minutes to tell like the story that they want to tell.
Yeah.
I don't know about like earlier children's stuff, like pre-K stuff. Like the only pre-K show I know is Bluey, and that's because my niece loves it. I'll be honest, I love it too. It's a great show. Shout out to Bluey. But
what is it?
It's I could talk for hours about Bluey. It's just like it's like one of those pre-K shows on Disney, but it's made in Australia. So all of the kids, it's about like this little dog family, and everyone in the show has Australian accents, and the kids are these little like puppies, and they're so adorable, and they have these little Australian accents. And it's a great show, and it's really well written and funny. It's just a good show.
Oh, I thought that's just what you called Blue's Clues, to be honest.
Oh, no. That's what I call Bear in the Big Blue House. Is Bluey.
Oh, don't get me started.
We'll have to review that at some point.
Oh, man.
So this Canker Sister episode, what is it called? Nagged to Ed?
Mm-hmm.
Again, title doesn't make sense, but whatever. So they start out, right, with, it's almost like the introduction to the Cankers is this, like, they're in the woods and everything, the Eds are, and it's mysterious, and there's this, like, chant, and the Cankers are, like, chanting the song, but they're doing the KISSING song, which implies that the Eds are the ones doing the kissing with each other, right? Isn't it like the Eds sitting in a tree, KISSING, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
They just want to watch these boys kiss. You know? That's what they wanted to see, boys smooching. And then the rest of the episode is nothing like that.
Yeah, it becomes like a just an episode of them like waiting on them hand and foot. And then at the end what makes them snap?
They cook for them and everything, and they like take care of them, and then the Cankers ask the Eds to clean up, and then the Eds are like, well, it's not our place, we're not cleaning up, and then they get pissed about that. Because they're like, we wait on you hand and foot, and you can't even clean up for us, and then they like try to guilt trip the Eds into cleaning for them. It's a real toxic relationship.
Yeah. So who's your favorite sister? Colin, I'm mostly talking to you. Like who did you? Obviously, you didn't have a crush on any of them, but like, if you had to pick one,
Marie's the redhead. She's the main one, right?
I thought Marie was I think Marie's the blue.
Then Marie, the blue-haired one, I think is my favorite one.
It's got to be the best one
because she's kind of normal compared to the other two.
Mm-hmm.
She's also the middle child too, right? And I'm the middle child in my family, so I think I just relate. You know,
me too.
Yeah. So.
Oh wait, we're all middle children.
Oh. The podcast should have been called Middle Children. But yeah, I don't know why. You know why? Okay, I'll tell you why now that I think about it. Because she doesn't seem like, the other two seem like warped versions of the Eds. So like the oldest one kind of seems like a more extreme version of Eddy, the one that's interested in Eddy. Mm-hmm. And then the younger one, or the blonde one, likes Ed the most. And she seems like she's kind of like the dumber one. But Marie and Double D don't seem like they're very similar in any ways. And she feels more independent of like an almost original creation compared to the other two. Like she kind of has her own thing going. She's not the Double D of the group, even though that's who she's into.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I think she also has the coolest design, I think, out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like she looks kind of grunge, like, you know, like mid-90s grunge almost. It's like her like design, which is kind of cool.
And they're both the best looking out of the groups, Double D and Marie.
Ooh, do we have a ship? Are you shipping Double D and Marie?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, oh my God, if you Google Canker Sisters, Google image Canker Sisters, the internet is so fucking horny. Like it's unbelievable.
Yep, I saw it.
They're like, how old are they? How old are these kids in the show? If we had to give them like an age range.
I was gonna ask you guys how old. All right, how old is Jimmy?
He's either 10 or 70. The way he acts.
But doesn't he wear a diaper?
No, I think he just wears white pants.
No. All right, so in the other episode, in the sumo wrestling one, he's wearing a diaper.
Don't they put it on him?
Do they? Okay. So I couldn't remember when I was watching it, and I just didn't go back. I couldn't remember why he's wearing a diaper. But he acts like a baby. Like he doesn't even act like a 10-year-old or 12-year-old, whatever they are.
Jimmy's the fucking worst. Google says they're 12. The Eds are 12. Jimmy's probably younger. I would say Jimmy and Sarah are probably, 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. even though Sarah like beats the shit out of Ed all the time.
That's another thing that I remember about this show was like the insane inhuman strength that some of these characters have. Like Sarah and Ed are like the strongest. They're like the Incredible Hulk, Superman level strong. I think Ed picks up a tree in the one episode.
Yeah, he does.
He just uproots it with his bare hands.
And he just like loves getting like whacked into things, like when in the first episode when he repeatedly runs into the pole and he's just like laughing about it. Or when they're talking on the cup phones and Jimmy and Sarah like they hook the wire and it just like they slam into the walls and Ed's just like do it again and just slamming into brick wall.
He's got like a smile on his face the whole time. Yeah.
Ed's an easygoing man.
By the way, I love Double D's setup. His headset cup phone, great. Do you guys remember that? He's got the Bluetooth going on, the Bluetooth headset.
Great.
It's fitting. Very fitting.
Fucking, I'm just looking at Jimmy's stupid fucking face.
And what's with his hair?
His hair is his skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Why?
It's like it's like a Simpsons situation, like Bart and Lisa's hair, or their skin. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, everyone else does have like normal hair though.
I mean, Eddie has 3 strands.
Yeah.
Isn't what's his name? Kevin. Is it Kevin?
Yeah.
He has a couple strands coming out of the opening of the cap.
Yeah.
But isn't he bald?
Is he bald otherwise?
Isn't there an episode where Eddie like takes off his hat and he's like bald underneath?
Does Double D have hair?
I can't remember actually.
Okay, so I'm just looking at all of these kids right now. They have like a big just like a picture of them all. And so Eddie only has 3 hairs. Ed has very few. He has like that short stubbly hair. I don't know what Double D has. Johnny looks like he's balding. Kevin looks like he has very little hair. And Jimmy, his hair is like his skin, but he also doesn't have a lot of hair. The only guy with a normal amount of hair, like a normal set of hair, is Rolf. And Rolf, remember, is not from there. So what is going on in this cul-de-sac where the boys are growing up with like male pattern baldness? Because Rolf is an immigrant. He came here from the old country, I think he refers to it as constantly. One of those great running gags where you don't reveal where the one character's from. That's funny. But he has normal set of like a full head of hair. None of the other guys do.
And Colin, who's your favorite character?
It's Rolf. He's, oh my God. It's hard to explain why, like, he's so funny. Everything he says, like when he's telling stories about his old country, and he has, I think in the one episode, doesn't he have like a giant clam? And like he just like pulls out like a giant clam in the one episode.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so funny. And he always seems like the most, in his own way, the most reasonable one in the situation. Like things are happening and he's like, and he like relates it to his own experiences, but in like a way that makes sense to me. I don't know. He's just great. He's the son of a shepherd. And I love Rolf.
My favorite is, I think my favorite is by far Eddy. I'm a big Eddy fan.
Eddy?
Oh, really?
Yep, I love Eddy. As much of a dick as he is.
I gotta be honest. I know Eddy's a fucking asshole.
He is, but you know he's a true leader. That's just really dumb.
He's a true leader.
You can't deny, like, the effort this guy puts in, the determination this guy has just to like achieve the American dream is unbelievable.
He's a true capitalist.
I mean, he really whips up these ideas, and even though they're dumb sometimes, like him trying to ship Johnny to Japan, in the mailbox by just stuffing him in there, and then he ties him and Jimmy to the light post.
He's gonna launch him.
And then Ed, he unties the anvil. and it launches them enough to just go above Ed. It just lands right on. That part made me laugh. I don't know why.
You know,
yeah, that was good.
Eddy kind of got on my nerves during Pain in the Ed, though, because he just, for like no reason, he's just trying to destroy. Ed is trying to practice his violin, and it's bad, right? But he's like just constantly trying to destroy it, and Double D's like that's such a shitty thing to do to your friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. He is very shitty with what, like, for some reason he just hates violin because it's for sissies in his words.
It's problematic.
And Double D has such a passion for the art of what the violin represents, and Eddie's just like he's just like, screw that. This thing is for wimps. I'm destroying it.
I have notes written down for that episode, and something about magnets being not. Does Double D put magnets in a pig at some point?
I know he gets the pig, but
yeah, what exactly happened with that pig? I'm trying to remember.
I feel like Double D used the pig to like activate his machine or something, but he put like magnets in it, which is not safe. That is not an okay thing to do. Because I have magnets are not safe to eat. ... Double D poisoned a pig.
Is that how he activated the machine? Because I thought it was like Rolf stepping on the gum, and then Johnny like tripping on it, getting launched.
Okay.
And then the Jack in the Box punching him into the trap, and he falls down. It's an amazing like mouse trap.
It's a Rube Goldberg machine if I've ever seen one.
I mean, who made it? Was it Eddy?
No,
mostly?
it's Double D. Because
I thought it was both of them. I thought they both
I think it's Double D because he doesn't know how to stop Ed from playing the violin, and Double D's like, all right, I'll help you, but then he does the old switcheroo at the end.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that trap is unbelievable. I mean, it's so many components to it.
And for kids not able to afford Jawbreakers, I mean, put a lot of budget into that thing. I think we have to address in One Size Fits Ed. There's some weird cultural appropriation going on in this episode. Like, I think they called Jimmy Geisha Boy at some point, which is kind of weird to do. Double D had the box. I don't know the actual term for it, but like the box, like Chinese hat, like on, like, I think, right, which is weird. It's the whole thing's just the sumo wrestling thing is weird. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's obviously a product of its time, but it was just kind of racially weird and kind of racially charged. Very. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, he literally has a Chinese to-go box hat. I thought, in my memory, he just had like the design of like the square, like.
No, he literally has,
but
like,
he actually has a Chinese takeout box
with the chopsticks still in it.
That's so fucked.
Oh gosh.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't sumo traditionally a Japanese sport?
Boy, that's what they said.
So why does he have a Chinese takeout?
Well, I think we have to understand that they're 12. So, you know, they're trying to like get into the culture, I guess. I don't know. But
Double D, I feel like Double D does say like it's sacred Japanese culture. Does he not say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says Jimmy will be revered if he was in Japan, not here.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put a box of pork fried rice on my head and like
yeah.
It's so weird.
Oh, poor Jimmy. What happens to his braces as he gets? Do they just fall off because he gets big?
Do they ever take them off? I don't remember.
No, in that episode, he doesn't have them when he's big.
They must have just snapped because he has like the ring around his.
I liked Jimmy in that episode, to be honest.
I never liked Jimmy growing up, but rewatching it, he says some funny shit, guys. Like, his voice might be annoying, and he might be annoying himself, but like, he's got some funny lines. I really did laugh at some of them. I think he's funny.
I think because he's like a partner with Sarah, so it really makes me just hate him.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the exact same thing. Yeah, anyone who's on Sarah's side in this show is normally in the wrong. It's like, you know what it's like. Do you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the whole premise of that show is Larry David playing a fictionalized version of himself, going around LA and getting himself into hijinks, like everyday hijinks, almost like a Seinfeld, but a little more like realistic almost. And the issue is they always present it as Larry breaking a norm, like a societal norm. But in reality, he's almost always in the right. And that's what it feels like when Sarah comes on screen for Ed, and Eddy. It's like the way that the Eds go about their stuff sometimes is shady, but Sarah overreacts to everything. Like, Ed's not even not trying to play his violin. He is trying to. It's Eddy who's being the dick. So Sarah needs to chill the fuck out.
She never does.
It's unbelievable.
And why was it? I forget why they needed to like keep it a secret. Like why they every time Jimmy was around, Eddy was like making it seem like he wanted Ed to practice. I forget how that started. Like why couldn't the violin be destroyed?
So I think Ed's parents told him to practice, and if he didn't practice, Sarah was going to tell on him. And it's like Ed's trying to practice. It's Eddy who's trying to mess it up. So Sarah needs to get the fuck off his back.
But Eddy does try and like when they're around, he tries to like protect Ed. So he didn't. I don't know. There's like I don't know. It's weird. He wanted to destroy it without anybody seeing. So I guess you couldn't blame anyone. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of inconsistent, I guess. We didn't really talk about. I know we said season 3, episode 3. That was like our favorite episode. We didn't talk about it too much, and I know we're running a little long, so we'll try to put some thoughts into how we felt about these episodes. But when Ed is grounded, it's so great, and Sarah and Johnny are or Sarah and Jimmy are they're like marching back and forth, like keeping watch over him. Which, Sarah, go live your life. Stop watching over like Ed. Come on. But the whole thing about them trying to sneak in, that was pretty cool. And they take the stairs away.
Yeah, that was pretty
great. Did we ever get clarification on what Ed did?
Ooh, I don't think that we did.
Yeah, I don't think we did either.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I do remember Ed has a drain in his room, which is wild.
Because that's how they get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think, don't they use Johnny to get in somehow, don't they? Oh, we didn't even go into Johnny really. I mean, we said we didn't, but him and Plank, like Plank is such a iconic like part of this show. Like it's this kid walking around with a plank which may or may not have sentience in some episodes, but it's it is a really cool idea for a character. Like a little kid walking around, like he has not an imaginary friend, but like a physical representation of his imaginary friend.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, Plank is great.
And the design of Plank is great. It's just so simple and clean, and the eyes it looks like Johnny made him, which is like the best thing about it. And then we have It Came From Outer Ed. That was the first half of the season 3 episode we watched. I just have written down Jimmy as a helpless shit. So I have Rolf is the best, Jimmy is a helpless shit,
and Ed has super strength.
Yeah, Ed is. It's up the tree.
Oh my god.
Why doesn't Eddy... Oh, never mind. I was going to ask why Eddy doesn't just scam Ed all the time because he's so dumb, but I guess Ed doesn't have money. But wait, why would Ed not have money and Sarah have money?
Or maybe Eddy is just loyal to his friends.
No, he's not. He's constantly exploiting them.
That's true.
What about when Ed gives Jimmy mouth to mouth and Jimmy's just rolled up like a newspaper, and then when he like inflates him and he just rolls back up like a fruit roll up?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, they do the animation, like the physical animation, I don't know how you'd call it, sight gags, I guess, on the show is really I mean, it really is quality stuff. This is definitely a cartoon that I think is when it came out, I feel like it was in such the perfect era for when it came out, because if this cartoon never would have gotten greenlit 10 years earlier, I don't think. Like I don't think, well, maybe because Ren and Stimpy was a thing, and this kind of feels like very, very similar to that like tone and comedy, like the Ren and Stimpys and the Cow and Chickens of the world. It's kind of offbeat. The animation style is kind of rougher, but like intentionally rougher. It definitely feels less like a clean cut classic cartoon. It definitely has its own personality, but I don't know if this is something you could make today. I don't know. Like, do kids play in a cul-de-sac anymore?
No. The show, it wouldn't hold up now.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
And imagine them making this now in 3D animation.
Yuck.
Just now. Horrible. Which, I mean, I don't know how SpongeBob is like still going. Well, we'll probably get to that whenever we do a SpongeBob episode.
There are some great SpongeBob episodes we could go into. All right, do we have anything left to say about Ed and Eddy? Oh, we should, I guess, review it. give it a score almost.
Oh yeah.
Or say if we liked it.
Does it still hold up? I think that it holds up to us because we watch it. But if kids today watched this show, I think they might. Oh, I don't know. It's so hard to.
It's very hyperactive, but I feel like a lot of cartoons now are hyperactive. I think the tone would fit. I don't know if anything else about it really fits anymore, but yeah. I liked it. I enjoyed watching it. Do we want to give it like a number score?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also really.
Do you want to do a number score? Because I'm thinking. All right, hear me out, guys. We do it on a scale. I will score my shows or my products, whatever experiences, things that we review. I want to review them on a scale of 1 to 94, and Josh can do a scale of 1 to 95, and Michelle can do a scale of 1 to 97, and we can make it complex as we want.
Now, are we rating this on how good we think it is, or how much we enjoyed it?
How good we think it is, because we're leaving nostalgia aside. We're supposed to leave our nostalgia aside. So how good do we think it is? So Michelle, do you want to start us off?
Okay. I mean, I also really enjoyed it. I think it's a great show. It was a great show back then too. I'm gonna go. I'm so bad at these rating systems, but I think my gut feeling is 80 out of 97.
Wow.
That's a good rating.
That's a fat score.
that was bigger than Johnny.
I mean,
sorry, Jimmy in the sumo wrestling.
That's a milk-based score if I've ever heard one.
I watch this show a lot, you guys. And it's exactly how I remember it. Although, yeah, it did make my brothers hate me. I see that. But it's great. It's great. I stand by it.
So I'm gonna try and rate it in context with shows like itself. So I'm gonna probably go with a 71, which is still really good. Like that's a really good score. Shouldn't be upset about a 71.
Yeah, can't complain about a 71. And it is a 71 out of 95.
True.
You have to remember that, not out of 100. My scoring system is out of 94. Makes it a little bit lower than your guys, so I'll give it a. I don't want to go into D territory because that seems. I don't think it deserves. I'll give it a 70. I'll give it a flat 70.
So I gotta clarify. So for me at least, my ratings are not like gonna be school based. They're not like if you get like a 60, you're a D. That's a 60 is not gonna be bad for me. A 60 is gonna be.
Oh, so you do it like 50 over is like 50's the bar.
Yeah, like my 50 to 60 is gonna be like mediocre. That's not the best, but it's not bad. The 60s 60s is gonna be decent to like pretty good. Like a 6.9 I would say is actually more than good. That's a decently good score.
I'm going to be honest, Josh, I wanted to give it a 69, but it is a kid's cartoon, so I was not going to go there in the first episode. So I bumped it up to a 70.
So, yeah, for me a 71 is very good. I try to think of it a little bit like Metacritic. If you get in the 60s and 70s, that's actually a really good score for them. So, 71, Ed, and Eddy.
And then Michelle, you gave it a what?
80 out of 97.
80 out of 97. Thank you for clarifying. So if we do some quick math here, let's see what that comes out to. It comes out to so complicated. A 77.27 total. So it's about it. So between the three of us, we gave it around a 77 total, which is pretty respectable. Definitely, I guess that's worthy of the longest running Cartoon Network show, correct? I think. Yeah.
Colin, I thought you were going to say it's a 221 out of 286.
Yeah, that's the math I did. Yeah. Yeah. I want to do the scores. I want to average out the scores every episode, and I think it's better if we make it as complicated as possible. I was going to throw in a decimal, but that's a little too early, I think, for a first episode.
Yeah, decimal might have been just a bit too much. No, but I think that's our show for today, guys. If you like what you're listening to, feel free to leave us a good review on Apple Podcast. We would appreciate that. And look out for new episodes every Tuesday. You can find us wherever podcasts are found. Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, Apple Podcast, all that good stuff. Be sure to follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook at Millennial Milkshake, and you can follow us on Twitter at MilkBasedPod. You can also follow each of us at our own personal social media. You can follow Colin on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Last Call, spelled COL. You can follow Josh on Instagram at Joshy_124. That's Joshy with an IE. And you can follow me on Instagram at Michelle's Thoughts. Thoughts like the way you think. And, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me in talking about Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
Well, Colin, thank you for joining me.
We'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.